بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وبعد. إخواني في الله عز وجل, my dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam. Again, we continue with Ashrat al-Sa'a, the signs of the end of times. And we were talking about Intifaq al-Ahilla, how before the end of times, the hilal, the crescent will become thicker. Because Rasulullah alayhi salatu wa salam, he said, من اقتراب الساعة أن يرى الهلال قبلا فيقال لليلتين. So one of the signs of the end of times, he said alayhi salatu salam, is that hilal will be seen. It will be the first night, but people will say, this will look like a hilal of 2 nights. It's been 2 nights already that the month has started. And in reality, it was only the first night. How will that happen? Allahu A'lam. We don't know yet. This is a sign, this is one of those signs of the end of times that did not occur yet, and we don't know when it will happen and how. Now it's interesting what he said, alayhi salatu wassalam. Now this is a sign that has definitely appeared. The next one, he says, alayhi salatu wassalam, وَأَن تُتَّخَذَ الْمَسَاجِدُ طُرُقًا. And one of the signs of the end of times is when masajid will be taken as a road, will be considered, will be treated like a place where you just pass through. Meaning, salah, why did Allah Azza wa Jal tell us to establish masajid? Is to do salat. It's for the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what Rasulullah alayhi salatu told the A'rabi. And masjid is for the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for salat and everything. One of the signs of the end of times is when masjid, for a lot of people, it will be a place to chill. It will be a touristic place. Like you know, in some Muslim countries, you have tourists. They enter and there's barely anyone doing salat. People, they come inside, they take pictures, they take selfies, videos, they're chit-chatting. And some people, sometimes, they use the masjid as a tariq, meaning, oh, there's a big masjid, so it's like a shortcut. I can enter from this door and leave from the other door. It's better than walking around the masjid. And he won't stop to make salat. Not even 2 rak'ahs. He's not going to say, you know, this is the masjid. At least I can stop, do my 2 rak'ahs and then leave from the other door. No. تُتَّخَذُ الْمَسَاجِدُ طُرُقًا. And we see how nowadays a lot of people who are supposedly Muslims, they never come to the masjid. They never do salat. And then one of their relatives passes away, for example, there's a janazah. They come, they show up at the masjid, they enter, and they stand in the back. They don't even do salat. They say, I'm a Muslim, but they don't do salat. They stand in the back. They wait for the salat, the janazah to be finished. And how are you, my friend? How are you, my uncle? Gives hugs and everything, talking, laughing in the masjid. Some people, to the point where I saw some people, they watch even soccer games. They watch sports in the masjid. He brings his tablet, he brings his phone, lays down in the masjid, and he's watching, right? So this is one of the signs of the end of times, when people, they will ignore so much the realities of Islam, that even the symbols of Islam, sha'a'irullahi azza wa jal, will become like a joke, will have no value to them. And then he says, alayhi salatu wasalam, and this is a scary one, he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, that one of the signs of the end of times, وَأَنْ يَظْهَرَ مَوْتُ الْفَجْأَةِ. And that there will be a lot of مَوْتُ الْفَجْأَةِ. مَوْتُ الْفَجْأَةِ is sudden death. Because back in the days, most people would not die suddenly. Most people, they die after a long illness. They have a long illness. Somebody is very ill for many days or for many weeks, and then they pass away. Or people used to die in battles, but they know when they are going to a battle, they know they might die, so they have something. But nowadays, just like Rasulullah ﷺ said, we have something that's becoming very, very common, which is sudden death. Someone who's walking, and just fell down, died. No signs before. They say this person was healthy, there was nothing wrong with them. Even on Twitter, actually, I saw it twice in the last few weeks. Twice that there was a trend. There was like what they call the hashtag, the main topic. It was sudden death, sudden death. Of course, people, they say it's because of the vaccine and everything, but it's sudden death, no matter what the reason is. So many people just dying out of nowhere, you know, they say, oh, this person was very young, was very healthy, and they just passed away. And also, ikhwani fillah azza wa jal, of course, as we said, many of these ashratu sa'a, they don't just happen with no cause. Allah azza wa jal, إِذَا أَرَادَ شَيْئًا هَيَّأَ أَسْبَابًا. Allah azza wa jal, this thing will happen, but other things will happen before it that will lead to it. So one of the reasons why we have a lot of sudden death nowadays, of course, what we consume, the food we eat, how many chemicals, all of this, what we are consuming is full of chemicals. We don't eat natural. Our lifestyle, a lot of people, they have a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure, especially in major cities. They're always under pressure, always under pressure. They don't get to sleep, they don't get to rest. Also, iyadhan billah azza wa jal, many of the youth, unfortunately, they take drugs, they take a lot of drugs. Some of the youth, they just take, drugs just to look more muscular, bigger. Some of them for other reasons. And this, person taking drugs, one day they just fall down, they just die. Also the ulama, some of the modern day ulama, they said another cause of sudden death, of course, is technology, communication, travel. Think about car accidents, right? How so many people, they just die in a car accident. What is a car accident? Usually happens in like 3 seconds. No warning before. The person was just driving and then 5 seconds after they are dead. So that's another sign of the end of times that Prophet Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, he told us about alayhi salatu wassalam. Also in the other hadith, another one here, عن أبي هريرة أن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام قال صنفان من أهل النار لم أرهما قوم معهم سياط كأذناب البقر يضربون بها الناس. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, there are two groups of my ummah from the people of hellfire that I have not seen them yet. They were not there in the time of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. They will come after his time. And in the other narration, يَكُونُ فِي هَذِهِ الْأُمَّةِ فِي آخِرِ الزَّمَانِ. These two groups will come out in the end of times. And we have both groups nowadays, subhanAllah. First one, he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, people that will have whips in their hands. معهم سياط, whips, كأذناب البقر, like the tail of the cow. He says, عليه الصلاة والسلام, يضربون بها الناس. They will be hitting people with those whips. That's what we have nowadays. Even, by the way, a lot of these ashrat al-sa'a that have a reference to evil, that's a very important thing. When we read the hadith about ashrat al-sa'a, some of those things, they did exist in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But the other communities, the Romans and everything, the kuffar, so it's normal. That's not a problem. What Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us that some of these behaviors, they will come and they will be existent. He's talking about inside his ummah, not the other nations. Because the other nations, kuffar, right? Many of the kuffar, they don't believe in the values that we believe in, that some things that for them is just normal. But Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he talks about some of the signs of the end of times related to the corruption, to the corrupt actions of people, he's talking how they will appear in his ummah alayhi salatu wasalam, and they will be so existing. So first one here mentions alayhi salatu wasalam is what we have. You can see this in most Arab countries and most of our countries in the Muslim lands and everything. You have those police, right? Riot police with big sticks like this and whips like this. What do? They hit people for no reason. يستحلون ضرب الناس. We know that if you hit somebody يوم القيامة, you'll be questioned by this. Allah Azza wa Jalla deserves to be punished. This is dhulm, this is haram. Even one person, let alone someone that thinks because that's his job. He has a whip and a stick. He thinks it's halal, it's my job. I have the right to hit whoever I want. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, these people will be from Ahlul Nar, from the people of Jahannam, iyadhan billah azza wa jal. And then he says, alayhi salatu wasalam, the second category, the second group, نساء كاسيات عاريات مائلات مميلات. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, the other group will be women that will be kasiyat ariyat. They are dressed and they are undressed at the same time. They are dressed because, they go to the store to buy clothes. We're buying clothes. But look at the clothes they're selling nowadays. It's clothes that barely cover the body. The body of the person. And that's why he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, ma'ilatun. Ma'ilat ay munharifat. They are inclined to haram, to fawahish. And mumilat. They want other people to become inclined like them. They are causing other people to become inclined toward the fawahish. They are encouraging haram. He says, alayhi salatu wasalam, رؤوسهن كأسنمة البخت المائلة. And then he described, alayhi salatu wasalam, how in their head like this, some of the ulama, they said, this is like one of those hairstyles they have nowadays, where they just gather their hair like this and they put it like a big mountain like this on top of the head, like this. And some of them, even some people, they call this hijab. They put like a khimar on top, but there's like a big bump like this on top. Like, they say this is a style. Billah. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam described this. Billah azza wa jal. He says alayhi salatu wasalam, لا يدخلن الجنة ولا يجدن ريحها. They will not enter Jannah and they will not even smell the smell of Jannah or find the smell of Jannah. رائحة الجنة عياذا بالله سبحانه وتعالى. Also he describes, and this is also another one, it's scary. This is, how Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, he described this, 14 centuries ago. In the hadith that is declared as Hasan in As-Silsila Sahiha, he says alayhi salatu wasalam, سيكون في آخر أمتي. There will be in the end of my ummah رجال يركبون على سروج كأشباه الرحال. He described alayhi salatu wasalam, and in some other narrations he's talking about al-mayathib. He's talking about men. There will be men in my ummah in the end of times, men that will be riding something. They will be riding something. He did not describe like an animal alayhi salatu wasalam. He said كأشباه. It is comparable to. And then we're not going to the Arabic here word by word, but the ulama, they said Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what he described is actually the car that we have today. It's the cars. And he said the description the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is given is to something fancy and comfortable. Fancy and comfortable ride. And he did not say alayhi salatu wasallam, you will be riding camels or horses. No, say كأشباه. It's mithla. Because the Sahaba did not see it. They don't know what this thing is about. Now look at the interesting thing after. يَنْزِلُونَ عَلَى أَبْوَابِ الْمَسَاجِدِ. They will stop at the door of the masjid. نِسَاؤُهُمْ كَاسِيَاتٌ عَارِيَاتٌ. Their wives will be what? Covered and uncovered at the same time. Meaning they have something on them, but they're not really properly covering themselves. How many times do you see this? Everywhere. In the West and even many Arab countries and everything, he comes like very fancy car like this for Jumu'ah, and parks right next to the masjid, and then his women or his daughters and everything, they are leaving full makeup like this, going to the masjid. It's like a party, going to the party with full makeup, and they're entering the masjid like this. There is no ghayra, iyadha billah azza wa jalla. There's no more jealousy, iyadha billahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. طيب, التي بعدها, next sign of the end of times is how Muslims, they will become weak at the end of times. This is also another one of أشراط الساعة. قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام يوشك أن تداعى عليكم الأمم من كل أفق كما تداعى الأكلة إلى قصعتها. He says عليه الصلاة والسلام, there will be a time, يوشك, when the the different nations of the world, will gather against you, and tada'a, they will come all to you and they will unite against you. They will gather against you. There will not be only one enemy, there will be nations, many enemies. And then he describes alayhi salatu wasalam, it will be like al-akala. Akala people, they want to eat like this. They all come to the qas'a, big plate like this, and there's a lot of people who come to eat together. So they all like pour one plate and then all the people eating from it. And then they said, قِيلَ وَمِنْ قِلَّةٍ نَحْنُ يَوْمَئِذٍ. Ya Rasulullah, is it because we will be a minority at that time, Ya Rasulullah? We will be like very few people that everybody can come and harm us? He said, no. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, أَنْتُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ كَثِيرٌ. There will be lots of you. Nowadays there's millions of Muslims around the world. Millions and millions and millions and lots of Muslims compared to this few Sahaba that were with him in his time, alayhi salatu wasalam. But he said, وَلَكِنَّكُمْ غُثَاءٌ كَغُثَاءِ السَّيْلِ. You will be like غُثَاءُ السَّيْلِ. What is غُثَاءُ السَّيْلِ? You see when you have like waves or water or the river or something, usually you have some foam on top of it, like this. And you might have some branches and some small things being taken by the water left and right, meaning it has no power whatsoever. It's just submitted, it just follows the flow. He says, alayhi salatu wasalam, وَلَيَنْزِعَنَّ اللَّهُ مِنْ صُدُورِ عَدُوِّكُمُ الْمَهَابَةَ مِنْكُمْ. Allah Azza wa Jal will take away from the hearts of your enemy, what? Al-mahaba, any respect towards you, any fear of you. Usually when a nation is powerful, even other nations that sometimes might be more powerful, but they still fear it. It's called what? Al-mahaba. Meaning if somebody wants to harm you, but they're thinking about the consequences. They don't know what you can do in return. Maybe you're stronger than they thought. No, but when someone becomes so weak that they have no mahaba anymore, no haiba, like nobody cares about you, nobody fears you at all. That's what he described, alayhi salatu wassalam. وَلَا يَقْذِفَنَّ اللَّهُ فِي قُلُوبِكُمْ الْوَهَنَ. And Allah Azza wa Jal will put in your hearts something called al-wahan. This is one of the illnesses of the ummah today. It's called al-wahan. Well, what is al-wahan? Even the Sahaba did not know what is al-wahan. They said, وَمَا الْوَهَنُ يَا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, حُبُّ الدُّنْيَا وَكَرَاهِيَّةُ الْمَوْتِ. It's the love of the dunya, attachment to the dunya, and hating death. That we are so unprepared for the akhirah, we are so busy with the dunya, that we'd rather stay alive for as much as possible. We love dunya so much, even though we say we are Muslimin and we believe in Jannah and everything, but practically speaking, we are so unprepared. Akhirah is so not present in our daily life that all I want is dunya and more beautiful dunya, and have projects, and I can build more, and I can expand, and I'm having such a good time. So I'd rather not die, you know? So if there's anything that can get me in trouble, can get me like, no, just leave it for someone else. To the point that Muslimin today, not just like they fear death, they just fear any even small minor consequences. Wallahi, so many Muslimin, even unfortunately, that Muslimin, they go to the masjid and everything, so many of them unfortunately, they won't even dare say a word of truth, kalimat haqq, enjoining good, forbidding evil, if that's gonna cost him an insult. Like if he's gonna say to someone, akhi, what you're doing is wrong, ittaqillah, you know, this is oppression, it's not good. I'm not saying if the other person is gonna kill you in return, just if the other person is gonna give you like a bad look, if he's gonna insult you, that is enough for many Muslimin nowadays to say, no, I'd rather not say anything, you know, it's none of my business, you know. Somebody else, let somebody do. This we call what? Al-wahan. We just love the dunya, we want things to continue to be as they are, status quo, and then people, they start to find they call it fitna nowadays. That's how people, they call it, you know? People nowadays, they call it fitna. They reverse the meaning of the words. You hear this word now left, right, and center. Anytime there's like a small, anytime it gets a bit heated, a debate or something, many Muslimin, what do they tell you? They tell you this is a fitna, I'd rather not be here, I'd rather run away. So what is fitna? Fitna is anything that threatens his dunya. Anything that threatens his income, threatens his business, threatens his relationship, right? If by telling you a word of truth, like let's say I see my brother doing something wrong, if by telling him, akhi ittaqillah, maybe he will not invite me anymore to his house for food, that is enough for me to say, I'm not talking, because this is fitna. And you know, Islam is not good fitna. That's how low many of us have went. And that's why he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, what? كثير ولكنكم غثاء كغثاء السيل. There will be a lot of Muslimin, but how many of them are actually effective? They can make a change, they can be a source of strength for the ummah? Not many. The rest are just like, do whatever you want, just leave me alone, my house, my business, my dunya. As long as it's okay, don't count me in, right? So, the next one, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also spoke about something that has to do with, maybe we can interpret this as economic sanctions according to one narration, or maybe something to do with the weakness of the Muslimin again. So I'll read the hadith first. So في صحيح مسلم أن النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام قال منعت العراق درهمها وقفيزها ومنعت الشأم مديها ودينارها ومنعت مصر إربدها ودينارها وعدتم من حيث بدأتم وعدتم من حيث بدأتم وعدتم من حيث بدأتم. رواه مسلم. So he says, alayhi salatu wasalam, that mana'at, it will come a day, like explained in the next narration that we'll read right after, inshallah, where Iraq will prevent, will not send its dinar and its qafiz, or its dirham and qafiz. Dirham is silver, it's a reference to silver. Every time in hadith, the word dirham is a reference to silver. It's an amount of silver. وَقَفِيزَهَا. Qafizaha is a measure. They say it's the measure of Ahlul Iraq. You know the measure? Sometimes, nowadays we don't use measuring anymore, except maybe in cooking. Those who cook, I'm not a good cook, but those who cook a lot and they bake and everything, they use what? Measurement, like half a cup. We call this what? Measurement. Nowadays, in business and everything, we don't use measurement, unfortunately, because normally in Islam, a lot of things should be sold by default by measurement. Nowadays, everything is by weight. So 1 kilo, 1 pound. But we have things which are what? By measurement. You say, give me 1 cup of rice. So they're going to fill up, they're going to sell you 1 cup of rice. So the measurement of Ahlul Iraq at that time is called al-qafiz. So people of Iraq, they will prevent, they will not send their goods. And he says the same thing, alayhi salatu wasalam, about the people of the Sham. He said Sham is Syria, Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon, nowadays called the area of Sham. And then he says, alayhi salatu wasalam, the same thing about Egypt, Misr, Mana'at. It will prevent, it will not send its irbad, which is its measurement as well, unit of measurement, and its dinar, and you will become like, you will return to the state where you were. So here's some of the ulama, the interpretation they made of this hadith is that the kharaj, you have kharaj and jizya and everything, the money, the goods that were sent from all these lands to the Khalifa, to the central authority of the Muslims, that these lands, they will slowly become what? Separate, or for a reason or another, they will say, we're not sending you, we're not paying you anymore. The kharaj is not fully this, but I'm just saying, just to make it simple, it's kind of a tax. Okay, it's not a tax, you don't have taxes in Islam, but it's kind of a tax on the lands. So either they will prevent, or also it came in the other hadith, very similar hadith. He says, alayhi salatu wasalam, يُوشِكُ أَهْلُ الْعِرَاقِ أَنْ لَا يُجْبَى إِلَيْهِمْ قَفِيزٌ وَلَا دِرْهَمْ قِيلَ مِنْ أَيْنَ ذَاكَ قَالَ مِنْ قِبَلِ الْعَجَمِ يَمْنَعُونَ ذَلِكَ. So this hadith, this narration actually seems to be more detailed, more stronger. He says, alayhi salatu wasalam, that there will be a time when the people of Iraq will not receive any qafiz, any measurements, or any dirham, any silver, meaning goods will not come to the people of Iraq. So they said the Sahaba, oh, why is that? Min ayna dhalik? What's the cause? Why is it that no goods are going to come into the Iraq? He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, min qibali al-ajam. It's because of the ajam. The ajam meaning the foreigners, outside countries, outside land, they will prevent that. A lot of ulama, they said what? This is what happened during the Gulf War. Remember during the Gulf War? When the whole world made officially economic sanctions. They said nobody can send any money to Iraq. You can't send food to Iraq, illegal. So they let the people of Iraq what? Die in hunger and everything. So this is what Prophet ﷺ mentioned. And then he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, ثُمَّ يُوشِكُ أَهْلُ الشَّأْمِ أَنْ لَا يُجْبَى إِلَيْهِمْ دِينَارٌ وَلَا مُدْيٌ. And also the people of Sham will face the same situation after the people of Iraq. Is this something, Allahu A'lam, is this a reference to what the people of Gaza, because people of Gaza today, they are under what? Economic sanctions. And they cannot receive, you cannot send things to Gaza. Or maybe it's something bigger that will happen in the future, that will be more general to a bigger area in Sham. We don't know, Allahu A'lam. But then he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, ثُمَّ سَكَنَ هُنَيَّةً ثم قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يكون في آخر أمتي خليفة يحثي المال حثيا لا يعده عدا. He said عليه الصلاة والسلام, but then there will be at the end of my ummah, so this will not last forever. He said عليه الصلاة والسلام, then at the very end of my ummah there will be a khalifa, a leader of the Muslims, who will what? يحثي المال حثيا. What does it mean يحثي المال حثيا? Mal is money, is goods, gold, silver. He will have so much gold and silver and goods that he won't even count it. Like he's receiving gold, he's receiving treasures, put them in the box. More, put them, how much do you have? You know when someone is very rich, Someone is very rich like this. You tell him, how much cash you have with you? I don't know. There's like cash like this, piles of cash. He takes them, throws them on the table. How much cash do you have? I didn't count it. Because there's a lot of money. I'm not concerned about how much do I have. You see? طيب. Another hadith here. Also, this is another sign that actually happened. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, this is in Bukhari and Muslim, and the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال لا تقوم الساعة حتى تخرج نار من أرض الحجاز تضيء أعناق الإبل ببصرى. He said عليه الصلاة والسلام, the hour will not happen until there will be a big fire, huge fire, he described عليه الصلاة والسلام, that will come out in Al-Hijaz. Hijaz is the area that has Mecca and Medina. Bila Ardul Haramain, the land of the Haramain, we call it Al-Hijaz. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, there will be a big fire that will come out of Hijaz. It will be so big that it will be a source of light for the necks of the camels in Busra. Busra is a place in Syria, in Asham. The fire will be so big that in Syria at night, it will be a source of light. Guess what? This actually happened in the year 654 of the Islamic calendar. There was a big volcano eruption of Burkan al-Medina, the volcano of Medina, because Medina is full of volcanoes. Medina of Rasulullah is actually surrounded by volcanic lands. And in the year 654, there was a big volcano that erupted, and the light was seen in Busra, just like Prophet Muhammad said, and this is documented in the books of history. Ulama like Imam Ibn Shama al-Maqdisi and Imam Ibn Kathir and others, they speak about this in detail, and how they describe how people, they were able, the Bedouins at night, they were able to even to see things, and some people were able to read under that light, and so on and so forth. And the city of Busra is about 1,000 kilometers away from Medina. So imagine how big this volcano or this fire was, just like described from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Another sign we have here is the coming. When I say the coming, not like from outside, meaning the appearance of a man called Al-Jahjah and another man called Al-Qahtani. These will be two leaders. We don't know who they are exactly, but they will come. That's why in Bukhari and Muslim, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, لا تقوم الساعة حتى يخرج رجل من قحطان يسوق الناس بعصاه. He said عليه الصلاة والسلام, the end of times will not happen until or before there will be a man that will come out of Qahtan. Qahtan is a tribe, is one of the tribes of the Arabs. There will be a man from Qahtan who will have so much control over people. He will be a leader, political leader. He will be governing over people, and he will yasuqun nas. Yasuqun nas meaning he will have full control over people. You go there, you go there, you walk this way, you come on this side. Bi'asah, with his stick, he will have power. Will he be a good ruler or a bad ruler? Allahu Ta'ala, we don't know. And in the other hadith narrated by Imam Muslim, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, لا تذهب الأيام والليالي حتى يملك رجل يقال له الجهجاه. That it will not be the end of times before there will be a ruler that will be known as Al-Jahjah. Again, this man Al-Jahjah, we don't know who he is. It's someone that will come out in the future. Allahu Ta'ala a'lam. Another sign of the end of times is that there will be a time where life will become so tough that people will wish they were not alive. In Bukhari and Muslim, hadith Abu Hurairah, and the Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam قال لا تقوم الساعة حتى يمر الرجل بقبر الرجل فيقول يا ليتني مكانه. The end of times, the hour will not come before there will be a time when a man would pass by a grave of someone who is deceased, and he would say, I wish I was in his place. I wish I was this person inside. I wish I was not alive. Because life will become so tough, so confusing, so difficult that many people who will still have sense, they will say, I wish, Allah takes my soul and I just end up inside and I just leave for the akhirah. It's better than me than being here in the dunya. And that's why, by the way, this hadith, the first first time I documented this hadith when I was doing my research some time ago. I just wrote the hadith, but I didn't really get why. But this time when I was preparing for this one, I thought about the hadith and I said, now I kind of get the point. So, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ليأتين على أمتي زمان يتمنون فيه الدجال. There will be a time that the people of my ummah, they will wish that Dajjal comes out. قلت يا رسول الله بأبي أنت وأمي مما ذلك. So one Sahabi said, Ya Rasulullah, but why? Why would someone wish that Dajjal would come out? Why? And from the ummah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's not a kafir. If it's kafir, he says, oh, I heard about Dajjal, he will have gold for the kafirin and he will support them. So I'd rather see this Dajjal. This is someone from the ummah of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam. Why would he wish that Dajjal is out? Why would he wish to hear that Dajjal is out? He says, Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasallam, قال مما يلقون من العناء أو الضناء. Because of all the trouble and difficulty that people will be facing. They wish Dajjal was out. Again, when I read this hadith the first time, I said, but why would people wish that, Dajjal would come out? If they are, still they know that Dajjal is the biggest fitna ever. But if you think about it, it's possibly because there will be so much fitna, so much corruption, that some believers will say what? I'd rather just, Dajjal come out and let's just deal with Dajjal, because after Dajjal will be Isa alayhi salam. We just want to see, when is this going to stop? Fitna and a bigger fitna and a bigger fitna. We just want to see Dajjal himself come out and finished. This way it will be clear cut. This is Dajjal, that's fitna from Dajjal. Iyadha billahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next one, listen, very interesting. And imagine here, Sadaqa Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. We say, like we were taught to say, Amantu billahi wa bi Rasulih sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I believe in Allah and I believe in Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. So listen to this one. It's very, 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 very interesting. Hadith of Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He says, بين راع يرعى بالحرة إذ عرض ذئب لشاة من شائه فجاء الراعي يسعى فانتزعها منه فقال للراعي. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, sorry, the companion here who narrates the hadith, he says there was a man who was a shepherd. He had sheep, he was a shepherd, he had animals, and he was in the Harra. Harra is a portion of the land right outside Medina. Just like we said, we just told you that in Medina, what do we have outside Medina? Who can tell me? What did I say right before? Volcanoes. Okay, so historically, you can search online, you can find a lot of information. Now, around Medina, right outside, historically, there's a lot of volcanoes. That's why there's like a land outside Medina of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's a portion of the land that's a desert, yes, but it's a very hot land, and it's the land of Al-Harra. That's where volcanoes would erupt, maybe centuries ago and everything. So it's like a burnt land. So he says here, there was a shepherd that was with his sheep in that area, and it says in some narrations that he was a Yahudi, he was not a Muslim, this shepherd. This is in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فَإِذْ عَرَضَ ذِئْبٌ. When suddenly there was a wolf that came out, and he stole one of the sheep from the ra'i. So a wolf came and attacked. By the way, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, many people do not know this. In the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there were in the Arabian Peninsula, in the Jazeera, outside Medina and everything, there was a lot of animals, even lions, by the way. You know why they disappeared? When did they stop? That was up to recently. There's found in hadith, but also it's found in books of history and everything. They had lions and everything. They used to come from Africa. And then, once they built Qanat Suez in Misr, when they built the Suez Canal, that's when they kind of, their way to Jaziratul Arab was cut. So that's why only recently, a few decades ago, that, the supply coming from Africa of these animals has stopped. But in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, there were a lot of animals, roaming in the desert. So he says here, جاء عرض ذئب. A wolf came and stole a sheep from this ra'i. فجاء الراعي يسعى فانتزعها منه. The shepherd came running and he took back his sheep. فقال للراعي ألا تتق الله تحول بيني وبين رزق ساقه الله إلي. So this was a sign. If you were with us 2 days ago, when we were talking about the life of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, we mentioned the other hadith, where, Allah Azza wa Jalla, this is an exception. This is a sign from Allah. There's not something you expect to see outside, okay? This has rarely happened in history. Sign from Allah that animals actually speak to human beings. This has happened. This is in the authentic hadith. Not something normal. This is not normal. This is a sign from Allah Azza wa Jalla. So when this shepherd took back his sheep, the wolf said, "Don't you fear Allah? You want to take a rizq that Allah Azza wa Jalla has given me? This is my meat, my food. You want to take it away from me?" So this man said, "Al-ajabu li al-dhi'b wa-dhi'bu muq'in ala dhanabih yukallimuni bi-kalam an-nas." He said, "How surprising is this? A wolf talking to me with the same language as human beings?" So he said, قال الذئب للراعي ألا أحدثك بأعجب من هذا. The wolf said to this shepherd, "Should I tell you something even more amazing than this? If you're amazed at this, there's something bigger than this that's happening. هذا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بين الحرتين يحدث الناس بأنباء ما قد سبق." There is Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam between the Harratain. As we said, the Harra is the volcanic land. There's two of them in Medina. Medina is located between the two. So that's why we say Bayn al-Harratain, meaning downtown Medina. He says Rasulullah is there and he's telling people about the stories from the past. بِأَنْبَاءِ مَا قَدْ سَبَقَ. Meaning you're missing out. What are you doing here? Go learn the deed. Go learn important things. قال فساق الراعي شاءه إلى المدينة فزواها في زاوية من زواياها ثم دخل على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال له ما قال الذئب فخرج رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وقال للراعي قم فأخبر. So he came and he met Rasulullah عليه الصلاة والسلام. As we said, it came in some narrations that he was not a Muslim, he was a Yahudi. That's why he was not initially with Rasulullah عليه الصلاة والسلام. And he told Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, this is, there was a wolf, he was talking to me and he's very surprised. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told him, tell people the story, tell everyone the story. Once he told everyone, Rasulullah alayhi salatu said, Sadaqa al-ra'i. The ra'i is telling you the truth. And then he said, Ala min ashrati as-sa'ati kalamu as-siba'i al-insa. He said, one of the signs of the end of times is that as-siba', the wild animals, will start addressing, talking to human beings. That's before the end of times. And then he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, حَتَّى تُكَلِّمَ السِّبَاعُ الْإِنسَى. And then please listen to this one. That's where it gets really serious and it gets scary. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, وَيُكَلِّمُ الرَّجُلَ نَعْلُهُ وَعَذَبَةُ صَوْتِهِ وَيُخْبِرُهُ فَخِذُهُ بِحَدِيثِ أَهْلِهِ بَعْدَهُ. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, to the point that, what? Someone, that's one of the signs of the end of times, and it's here, we have it. He said, someone's sandals and shoes will talk to him. And the side of his whip will talk to him. And even his own thighs can tell him what his family is doing in his absence. Do you know that nowadays? Yes?
Shaykh, can't jinn transform to animals?
Can jinn transform to animals? Yes, they can. They can take the form of the animal. Yes.
So they can talk like humans, right?
Yes, but this Prophet ﷺ is specific. He didn't say the jinn. He's talking about as-siba'. He's talking about real animals, not jinn in the form of animals. But let's focus on the other one here, the most important one here. Do you know that nowadays you can Google, you can find it on Google, but also you can do it if you want. You can, if you have some money, you can do a deal with some factory in China, you can get it done. Go online, you can look for smart shoes. You know smart shoes? We have smartphones, smart lights, everything is smart. We have smart objects, so you have smart shoes. They sell them online. Smart shoes is like shoes just like your phone. Shoes that can talk and they can record messages and you can have a conversation with someone. So that's your shoes, what? Talking to you. He says, حَتَّى تُكَلِّمَ نَعْلُهُ. His na'l. So he's talking here. That's why in the books, by the way, barely 30 years ago, like I'll tell you one thing. One of the very first books of Ashrat al-Sa'ah that I have ever read and benefited from, and it's one of the best ones written in the past few decades, is Ashrat al-Sa'ah by Shaykh Umar al-Ashqar, rahimahullah. So that's one of the ulama for Aqidah. He passed away maybe 15 years ago or something, and he has a book about Ashrat al-Sa'ah, the signs of the end of time. It's actually one of the references that I have used. But this book was written like 30, 40 years ago, okay? There was no smart shoes, no smartphone, nothing. Nobody ever imagined that this actually is going to be the case, okay? So when he put this hadith, and this is not someone from centuries ago, just someone from like 40 years ago, he put it under the title what? Taklimul Jamad. Jamad meaning objects. The day when objects will start talking. As I said, today we have objects that are talking to us. And when Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he says, Wallahu a'lam, when he says his thigh, fakhiduhu, your thigh will be telling you what your family is doing. Where do we put our phones usually? In our pockets. Stick it to our thigh, right? You have Bluetooth. Can't you be listening to what your family is doing? Isn't that possible, technically? If someone wants to spy on their family, whatever, they can do it. So that's one of the signs of the end of times. That objects will start talking, and then will come a time, actually more than this, animals will start talking to us, to human beings. Just like Rasulullah ﷺ, he mentioned ﷺ. Another sign of the end of times. This has not appeared yet, but I have read things online that seem to be verified. Okay, I cannot tell you 100% because the 100% is the hadith itself, the event, Allahu A'lam. But there are things online. You know, some people who live over there and they have given some information that it's on the way. You know, it's on the way. So, عن أبي هريرة أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال: لا تقوم الساعة حتى يحسر الفرات عن جبل من ذهب يقتتل الناس عليه فيقتل من كل 199. He said عليه الصلاة والسلام, before the hour, before the end of times, the Euphrates, you know the river of the Euphrates, where is it located? Al-Furat? In Iraq. So this is a very known river in Iraq. It's called Al-Furat, the Euphrates. He says عليه الصلاة والسلام, one day the river of the Euphrates will uncover, like it is as if it's hiding something, and that thing is going to come out. يحسر الفرات عن جبل من ذهب. It will be a mount of gold, huge amounts of gold, lots of gold. He says عليه الصلاة والسلام, and people will fight each other for that gold. يقتتل الناس عليه. To the point that in that fight, whoever participates in that fight, there's a chance 1 of 100 to be alive. 99% of every 100 people will be killed in that fight. And only 1 out of every 99 will come out alive and will take some gold home. So يقول كل رجل منهم. So why would people still fight? You know, some people maybe they will be told this hadith actually. Maybe, Allahu A'lam. When this will happen, maybe some people they will be told, Akhi, please don't go get the gold because I'm afraid for you. You're going to get killed. Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, he said that it will be only 1 out of 99. This is very dangerous. So he explains alayhi salatu wasalam, يقول كل رجل منهم. Every one of them participating in that fight will say, لعلي أكون أنا الذي أنجو. Well, maybe I will be the one who will still alive. He will tell you, yeah, but Rasulullah said, you know, it's 1 out of what? Of 100, 1 is going to be alive. So, you know, maybe I have a chance, 1 out of 99, and it's worth it. I'm going to bring lots of gold if I'm that 1 person out of 100. You see? So he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, to make it very clear, alayhi salatu wasalam, فَمَنْ حَضَرَهُ فَلَا يَأْخُذْ مِنْهُ شَيْئًا. Whoever is alive and whoever is around should not take a single thing from that gold. Don't participate. Don't let shaitan and your nafs tell you it's gold, because the hadith is very clear. There seems to be a huge amount of gold, not just like a little bit. That's why should not be surprised if the day it happens, people will be traveling from around the world. They will even team up, maybe make their small armies. They say, let's go to Iraq to get that gold. Allahu A'lam how it will happen exactly. But as I was telling you, That's why, look, قال Ubay, in the other narration of the hadith, Ubay, al-Sahabi, who narrated this hadith, after the words of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, he adds his own comment here. What does he say? Ubay radiallahu anhu, لا يزال الناس مختلفة أعناقهم في طلب الدنيا. People will not cease, they will not stop fighting each other for the dunya. That's how it will be until al-akhirah, until the end of times. Because al-akhirah, what will happen on the akhirah? Surah Zalzala. Who knows who tells us Surah Zalzala? Yes? Go ahead, recite it. Yes? Ahsant, barakallahu fik. So, the beginning here, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. This is the qiyamah, the big zilzal, the earthquake. وَأَخْرَجَتِ الْأَرْضُ أَثْقَالَهَا. Well, when there will be the big earthquake of the qiyamah, all the goods, all the treasures of the earth, they will come by themselves. There will be gold coming out of the... And then what? وَقَالَ الْإِنسَانُ مَا لَهَا يَوْمَئِذٍ تُحَدِّثُ أَخْبَارَهَا. In the other hadith, it is told to us that the qatil, the murderer, the crazy person, the fraudster, the foolish, everyone who has disobeyed Allah Azza wa Jal for the dunya, he will look at this gold coming out of nowhere. So gold will be everywhere, just coming out, treasures coming out. He will say, فِي هَذَا قَتَلْ. Because of this, I killed people. Because of this, I cut my family ties. Just for this. Because now gold is a very what? It's expensive. Why? Because it's very rare. It's scarce. We don't have a lot of gold. So that's why when you find a bit of gold, you're going to try to take it. But when it will be over, Allah Azza wa Jal will bring out all the treasures. They will come out. So treasures will be everywhere. It will be like rocks. And people will say, I killed for this, I damaged my akhirah, I'm going to Jahannam for this, just for this. So that's why it says here, Ubay radiallahu ta'ala anhu, لا يزال الناس مختلفة أعناقهم في طلب الدنيا. By the way, as I told you, I actually read, obviously this needs to more time to do more research, but to what I found so far, this appears to be something that, that is verified news, that they are finding now that the Furat, the Euphrates, is uncovering some of the treasures of people of the past. For some reason, there's treasures, there were people of the past civilizations who lived, and they have goods under the ground. And some of it is coming. I even saw pictures on the internet. But definitely not what Prophet ﷺ said. So maybe this is, this is just like the first indications. Maybe there'll be a big drought, maybe we don't know. Allahu A'lam. But one day, so much gold is going to come out. Also, another sign of the end of times. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us about a big, heavy rain that will happen all around the world one day. قال النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام لا تقوم الساعة حتى يمطر الناس مطرا عاما ولا تنبت الأرض شيئا. He said عليه الصلاة والسلام, the end of times will not happen until, so this is one of the signs of the end of time, one day there will be matar am, big heavy rain, that will be am, meaning everywhere, deserts, forests, all around the world, there will be big rain. But the problem with that rain is that nothing will grow as a result. So usually when there's rain, people, they feel happy, they say Alhamdulillah, now we're going to get fruits and everything. It will be rain and rain and rain and nothing growing. So meaning there's no barakah anymore. This rain will be kind of a adab from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Next one here. Listen to this hadith. سئل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الساعة فقال. This is also another sign. We have two signs here at least that we see them. They are so obvious in our face. This is the world in which we live. He said عليه الصلاة والسلام ولكن أخبركم بمشاريطها وما يكون بين يديها. He said عليه الصلاة والسلام, I don't know when the hour will happen, but I can tell you about some of its signs that will come right before it. Number one, he said, إِنَّ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهَا فِتْنَةً وَهَرْجًا. Before the hour there will be fitna and harj. So the Sahaba, they said, Al-fitnatu qad arafnaha, fal-harju ma huwa? They said, Ya Rasulullah, we know what fitna is. We spoke about fitna before. So Sahaba, they know what is fitna exactly. So the Sahaba, they said, what is harj, Ya Rasulullah? What does the word harj mean? He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, huwa bilisan habasha al-qatlu. The word harj is not an Arabic word. It's from people of Al-Habasha, Abyssinia, from their language. It means, this is like a word that was imported by some Arabs. Just like today, you know, some Arabs, they might put some English words. So someone who doesn't know English at all, he will say, what does that mean? He's talking to another Arab, he's like, ما معنى هذا كلمة? He will explain to him. So Prophet Muhammad he used a word used by some Arabs, but it's not Arabic, it's from Habasha. He said, Al-Harj means killing, murdering. By the end of times, there will be what? A lot of killing. Do we have that nowadays? Killing? So much killing. So much killing. It's like, it's a normal thing. When you open the news today, you're just like, where did they kill someone? Where did somebody do some shooting or you can't even keep track of it, right? So it's happening all around the world. Killing, let alone wars. How much deaths were created by wars in recent times since technology has evolved. Because back in the day, they used to kill with swords, you know? How many people can you kill with a sword in one day? Even if you're like the best warrior, the strongest warrior in a battle. How many people can someone kill with a sword, right? There's just so much damage they can cause. But nowadays they have technology. Somebody can be in an airplane or an office, they just press a button like this, they can wipe out the whole village. You see? So he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, al-harj, that this will be one of the signs of the end of times. And then he says, alayhi salatu wasalam, listen to this, وَيُلْقَى بَيْنَ النَّاسِ التَّنَاكُرُ فَلَا يَكَادُ أَحَدٌ أَنْ يَعْرِفَ أَحَدًا. And there will be another thing which will be what? At-tanakur. At-tanakur is related to the word nakira. In Arabic, when we say nakira, like even in grammar, we have ma'rifa and nakira. But in Arabic, for example, when you say somebody is nakira, means someone is unknown. Who is this person? We don't know this person. There will be tanakur, and then he explains further, alayhi salatu, to make it very clear. He said that it will be very rare that someone knows someone else. فَلَا يَكَادُ أَحَدٌ يَعْرِفُ أَحَدًا. That's how urban life is nowadays. When people live in big cities, you don't know your neighbor, you don't know the person you're working with, you don't know the person you're traveling with, you don't know anybody. Just go sit in the bus and you're traveling. You go to work and you see some people, you say hi, buy, sell, buy, finished. And now, as I said, now in many places, you don't know your neighbors. Your neighbor, you've never seen them. You don't know who lives there. You just hear noise, somebody coming in, coming out, and it doesn't really matter. So it will be a strange world, very different from the time in which people used to live back in the days, and this is due to the urban life, the new system in which we live. And also he said, and also this is, by the way, this is not hadith of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, the one I'm going to mention now. These are words attributed to Umar ibn al-Khattab, to the Sahabi, Umar ibn al-Khattab. But even, to be fair here, to be clear, even the narration attributed to Umar ibn al-Khattab is not authentic, is not sahiha. Okay, there's not an authentic narration, but I'm mentioning it because the meaning itself is valid. So since there's no hukm involved here, no ruling, no halal, no haram, I'm still going to mention it, because when a narration is weak, it doesn't mean that Umar never said it. When a narration is weak, it just means that we cannot prove it. He actually said it, Umar ibn Khattab. So it is attributed to Umar that he said, يَكُونُ فِي آخِرِ الزَّمَانِ إِخْوَانُ الْعَلَانِيَةِ أَعْدَاءُ السَّرِيرَةِ ذَلِكَ بِرَغْبَةِ بَعْضِهِمْ مِنْ بَعْضٍ وَرَهْبَةِ بَعْضِهِمْ مِنْ بَعْضٍ. It says here that by the end of times, you will find the brothers on the outside, the enemies on the inside. Meaning from outside, he's your brother. MashaAllah, you're my friend. We're best friends. You know, I like people like you. In his heart, he is your enemy. Why? Why would people be so hypocritical before the end of times? Just like we see nowadays. He said, because of raghba or rahba. Either because he wants something from you. He wants your money. He knows you're rich, for example. He knows you're famous. So he hates you with his heart, but he's going to come to you and say, I like people like you so much, and every time I see you, mashallah, I feel so happy. He wants your money. Or rahba, he's afraid of you, he's scared of you. Like they do in some countries where people, they fear the government, they fear police and everything. So he goes to the authority or to the, somebody from police. He said, we like you so much. We like people like you so much. We are with you. Why? Because he's scared. He's going to harm you. If he doesn't show that he's with them, that he supports them, he's going to be hurt. So, next one. Related to knowledge, let's go back to knowledge. We said that by the end of times, there will be less and less and less knowledge. So because there will be less knowledge, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he said in the authentic hadith, this can be found in Sahih al-Jami' قال عليه الصلاة والسلام إن من أشراط الساعة أن يلتمس العلم عند الأصاغر. He said عليه الصلاة والسلام, one of the signs of the end of times is that people will be taking knowledge, يلتمس العلم, they will be seeking knowledge from al-asaghir. Al-asaghir, jam'u saghir, means the little ones, the small ones. Now someone can say, okay, so we can't take knowledge from someone who's small, who's young. If someone is young, we have to only look at very old people. That's not the meaning. Why is it not the meaning? I will tell you the dalil now, evidence now, but also because, in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even the Sahaba, even the Tabi'in, they were taking knowledge from some younger Sahaba because Allah Azza wa Jal gave them ilm. So it happens a lot that through history you had a lot of great ulama who were young. So it's not related to the age. However, what is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam talking about here? Abdullah ibn Mubarak, Imam, one of the great scholars of hadith, he comments on this hadith and he said, Al-asaghir الذين يقولون برأيهم فأما صغير يروي عن كبير فليس بصغير. He says Al-asaghir, the small ones, the little ones, are those who make up religion with their mind, with their opinions. They answer with their opinions. He said, as for the one who conveys the knowledge of the bigger ones, so if someone is saying, I'm just telling you that Imam Malik, this is what he said. I'm just telling you that Imam Shafi'i, this is what he said. I'm just telling you that Imam Muslim, this is what he said. I'm just telling you that Umar ibn Khattab, that's what he said. There's not asaghir, because he's not actually making up the deen. What is he doing? Transmission only, just telling. They said. But he said what? Al-asaghir are those who make up deen with their opinion. Again, somebody goes on TikTok. That's how it works nowadays. Somebody goes on TikTok or goes on YouTube and he says, I just want to have an account too. Just like everybody, I want to be online. What should I say? I want to say something good about Islam. Okay? Please people, do your prayer, do your salat. He has good intention maybe. But then he's surprised how very quickly he became famous, because there are no ulama, especially in this world of social media. That's why we have to connect ourselves with the masajid and everything, because we cannot expect the people of knowledge and the ulama to go follow us on TikTok. They're going to be like, Alim is going to create an account on TikTok. He's 60, 70 years old and he's going to act like a teenager on TikTok. It's not going to happen, right? They don't have to follow everything that people they do. But what happens when people, they leave the masjid, they leave durus of al-ilm and everything, and they just go on social media, and then they expect Islam to come to them over there. So as I said, people, they just gotta look up to, whoever became famous. Oh, there's a young man, young gentleman, he knows how to talk, he's on TikTok. And he's telling us it's very easy, very easy. There are a lot of them. They get 1 million followers very easy. And then what? He changes the name of his account to something Islamic reminders or something, and he starts getting more and more followers. And then what do people do?
Take him as a sheikh.
They take him as a sheikh. He's famous. So first time I see somebody teaching me Islam on TikTok, so they start asking him questions. Is this halal? Is this haram? Is this halal? Is this haram? And then he's gonna film himself. Okay, somebody asked me this question. I think this is okay to do this. I don't think Muslims should be doing this. I think so this is what? And يُلْتَمَسَ الْعِلْمُ عَنِ الْأَصَاغِرِ. Like he said, alayhi salatu wasalam, this is one of the signs of the end of times, that people will be taking knowledge from the small ones, from the little ones. الَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ بِرَأْيِهِمْ لَا يَنْقُلُونَ عَنْ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صَلَى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وسلم أَوْ عَنِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. Another one, also very serious one, ضَيَاعُ الْأَمَانَةِ Al-amana will be lost. What is al-amana? Who can tell us? ما معنى الأمانة? Trust. ما يؤتمن عليه الإنسان. So amana can be a physical thing. Like I'm going on a trip, I'm traveling. So I'm giving you the key of my car and I tell you, Akhi, it's amana. Please take care of my car in my absence. Someone has to go do wudu. He gives you his jacket. And he says, brother, please hold my jacket for me. I'm just doing my wudu, I will be back. We call this what? Amana. So when we say amana, it means I trust you. And I hope that you are going to be trustworthy like I trust you. And then I'm going to take back my amana. This is the physical amana. But also there is a moral amana, another form of amana. So in the hadith, it talks about physical amana, but it's talking even more important about the amana that was mentioned in the Quran, which is the moral one. What is moral amana? Is responsibility. I give you responsibility. So for example, someone, he travels, your brother or your uncle, he travels, he goes for 6 months, he goes for work. My kids are amana with you, okay? My kids are amana with you. My family is amana with you. So now he's not giving you something physical. He's just saying what? Please be responsible and take care of my amana. Or you are a boss, you have your own company, business, and for a reason or not, you have to travel for a long time. You're going to pick one of your employees that you trust him, and you say, please take care of the business in my absence. I trust you. I leave you this as an amana. That's why Allah Azza wa Jal told us that Islam actually is an amana. Our religion is amana. Inna aradna al-amanata ala samawat wal jibal على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان. We have the amana of at-taklif. Why amana of taklif? When Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us as an order in Islam, if you lose your wudu, what do you have to do before you pray? Make wudu. Is there anybody to keep track on you? To be like always like looking after you? Oh, you just slept, you just woke up, you don't have your wudu, go do your wudu first before you pray. No. Who's